Hi there, welcome to That Board Game Show. My name is James Wood, and today I'm going to show you ISS Vanguard. Published by Awaken Realms, and designed by these amazing people, with incredible art by these amazing people. My apologies for not saying your names, but all these Polish names and Polish spelling I can't quite wrap my South African British tongue around. I did try looking up online pronunciation guides for your names, and I'm afraid I could only find very basic ones and I didn't quite trust them. So I figured rather than stumble over completely butchering the pronunciation, I will just put them at the bottom of the screen to give credit where credit is due to the incredible people who have pulled this game together. Today I'm going to be playing through the tutorial for ISS Vanguard, which is recommended that you actually play through solo, which is what I'm going to do today. In fact, I've already played through it solo and I've gotten the basics down, but I figured I want to show you how the game plays, so I'm going to go through that tutorial step by step as if I haven't played it, and explain all the basic rules to you as we go. So the recommendation in the rulebook is that you play it solo first to just cement the rules and figure out how it all works. Or there is also an official tutorial video, which is about 30 minutes long, and it's available on issvanguard.com. I'll leave links down in the description below. But today I'm going to show you that tutorial in action. I'm actually going to play through it and do the steps as we go. And if you haven't already seen it, I did record a organizing video, because that's actually the first step when you open this massive box, is to organize all the components into these various trays, take out all the cards, get everything in the correct place and ready for your first game. So I finished off that video where I'm picking up today. So as soon as you're finished organizing, you're then ready to play through the tutorial. With that said, let's dive into the rulebook and see how it goes. So the first thing we're going to do is open the rulebook. We've gone over all of the components. We've already gone through all of the organizing in a previous video, and this is where we got up to in that last one, starting your game. So today I'm playing the tutorial, and looking at this estimated playtime of 3 to 4 hours, I'm going to do my best to edit this video down to less than that. But even so, I would recommend you go grab your favorite beverage and buckle up, because this is going to be a long one. I will break it up into chapters and leave those markers along as we go, just so that it can be broken up into bite-sized chunks and you can stop and start and come and go as you have time available. So, with all of that out the way, let's turn over the page and get ready for setup. Today, all we need are these components over here. So we've got the Planetopedia, which is underneath here for now. We've got the different section boxes, the different section boards, card tray A over here, card tray B over here, reference cards, turn markers, components, dice, etc. And these ones keep on getting bumped out of line. And then after doing all the setup, the very first thing we're going to do is proceed to log 1. There is a printed logbook included in the game. So this gives you all of the log entries as you explore the game. So if it says log 1, we would go to the first page, read log 1, and then we would proceed to the next step. Or instead of reading aloud from a printed logbook and marking up as you go, because there's also going to be things as you make decisions, you're going to mark off things. So instead of that, they have an excellent companion app, which is what I will be using today. It is, I believe, one of the best companion apps for any board game I've ever experienced. So naturally, that's what I shall be using today. And let's turn the volume down. In fact, let's not turn the volume down, because it has a wonderful soundtrack and everything is fully voice acted. And then we're going to tap on here. Okay, choose or create save slot. We'll call this tutorial. Done. Add. Do you want to play campaign and operations or only operations? We will be playing the campaign and operations today. You'll see here there's 3 different game modes. You've got the tutorial, You've got the campaign, and then you've got operations. Operations are single one-shot games, which are only recommended once you've actually played through the campaign and you have experience with the game. They tend to provide more of a challenge, from what I've read. And so they're not really there for first-time players. So we won't be doing an operation today. We'll be playing campaign plus operations. Do you want to play a tutorial? Absolutely yes, please.
Good morning, crew. If you're hearing this, it means you belong to a small group of essential personnel waking up in the first wave. Let me bring you up to speed. For the last 2 years, Vanguard has been cruising safely to our destination, following alien coordinates to the main objective of our mission. 5 days ago, we switched off the Alcubierre drive and dropped to sub-light speed. You might feel a bit heavy on the main deck. Gravitational compensators keep deceleration down to a slightly uncomfortable 2G. The red zones on the ship are locked and off limits, unless you want to experience what 90G feels like. We're now approaching our target. So far, sensors aren't picking up anything, but don't let that get you down. We're still a ways off, and...
Collision course alert. Action required.
Report. What's going on?
Sir, we're detecting a massive cloaked object directly in our path. The calculations show we're 3 weeks from impact.
Begin evasive maneuvers.
Sir, this object is several times larger than our solar system, a diameter of nearly 200 astronomical units. Considering our current speed, I'm not sure we'll be able to adjust the course in time.
How could we miss something this big?
The object employs some active cloaking technology, and does not seem to have any gravitational interactions with nearby systems.
Sergeant Nahi, are the section leaders awake?
Yes, sir.
Get them up here and lock down the bridge. Not a word of this to anyone. We don't want to cause a panic on board.
Okay, so there is our introduction. I suppose I should have given you minor spoiler warnings ahead of this, but everything you're going to see today is literally what you'll see in the tutorial the first time you open the box, the first time you play. So if you want no spoilers for this game, I would recommend you stop watching this video right now. In fact, it might be a bit late for that. But if you don't mind very minor story spoilers, like literally the introduction of the game, then stick around and you'll see how it all works. So we're going to say proceed. Follow the setup instructions for the tutorial on page 11 of the rulebook. We will close, and then this is where we will come back to punch in log numbers instead of flipping through the logbook. Prepare the away team. Read this section after reading log 1. And step 1 is remove from the game the this side up card from the tutorial deck A. So we have the tutorial deck over here, and we have this side up tutorial deck A. Do not open until instructed. Well, we've just been instructed, so we will take that. And this gets added into this slot over here in card tray B, which is where all the removed from game cards go. So that if ever you want to reset the game and start fresh, you can do so. You simply pull out all the cards from this divider here and reorganize them all according to how it tells you in the beginning of the book how to organize everything. Let's take out our crew members. We have Riku Hashimura. Construction is his expertise. So take the top 4 cards of the tutorial deck, your starting crew members, and give the crew members to the following section players. Playing solo today, I am all the section players, because no matter how many players you're playing with, you always have all 4 sections present. Riku's work as a volunteer peacekeeper back home afforded him training in many areas, but his speciality is threat assessment and containment. Despite his proficiency in combat scenarios, Riku's foremost passion aboard Vanguard is building, making homes and forging a new future. Okay, so that is his story. So now we will take his card and we will insert it into the rank 1 card sleeve over here that we set aside during setup. Each of these sections has various different rank card sleeves, and those represent the level of your character. And so we will put Riku over there in security. We have Amir Zainab is science, so we will grab the science sleeve and slide him into his rank 1 science sleeve and add him into science. Oh, and let's give his little backstory. There is talk that Amir is really a convicted criminal who took his twin brother's place in the ISS Vanguard mission. Ooh, he's a bit of a questionable character, isn't he? Okay, we have Joppe Urik, or Joppe, or something to that effect, whose speciality is physical. He's a very physical, active fellow. Joppe is a great cook, often complicit when it comes to stealing leftovers from the canteen and preparing dinners with lab equipment. However, his petty crimes are mostly forgiven. Who doesn't love crispy protein bars toasted over plasma torch? Well, you make do with what you got when you're in space, I guess. Okay, Joppe Urik is going to be in recon, so we take his recon sleeve over there, slip him in that, and put him on his board. And we have Cho Jae-young, and her expertise, I should say, is scouting. Other crew members joke that the ever-hungry Cho is the best scout on Vanguard because they're always searching for food. Always on the hunt for some nibbles. And as such, they are in our... Where are they meant to be? They're meant to be in engineering. Best scout. I would think that they would go in recon, but oh well. I shall do what I'm told in the rulebook. Select which crew members will be in the away team. Okay, note, for this tutorial, Amir Zainab from the science section must be chosen as part of the away team. Okay, so they're basically scripting out the first few turns that we're going to play here. So we have to choose Amir, even though he's a bit of a shady character. And in a one-player game, the away team has 2 crew members. The player chooses which 2 sections to include. Okay, so on a away team, basically these are the crew members we're going to send down onto a planet to do something. So we're only going to take 2 of them into this part of the game. So I'm going to take these 2. I'm going to take Amir, because I have to. And I'm going to take Cho Jae-young, because engineering I think might be quite useful, and I like the balance of those 2 characters. So these guys are going to have a day off. We're not sending them to work just yet. They are going to go into the resting crew. Let's show you that up here. So I don't know if you can see the dividers. We've got this resting crew divider there. So they will slip in behind that. I need 2 hands for this because there's another divider right behind it. So we'll slip them into there. They are having a kip. They haven't come out of cryo sleep just yet. Only these 2 have woken up. And then each player chooses a mini to represent their crew members. Okay, so now I get to pick any one of these minis that I like the look of. And you can pick any ones you want. So let's see. Let's take this one for Amir. So we'll pop him in his purple base over here. And these miniatures are just crying to be painted. Desperately need to paint these. So basically these minis are representative of the crew. So you're not really playing a character. This isn't like a typical role-playing game where you have a character and you take them on adventures all over the place. This is more zoomed out and you're sort of administering a crew of this massive spaceship. Now let's find a mini for Cho Jae-young. She looks inquisitive like that. And we will pop her into her yellow base. Yeah, these definitely need to be painted. That is going to be my next project after filming this video. Next step, go to log 5. So now we punch in the log number. We'll go 5, and then we press this little arrow to go.
Capcom, this is the away team. We're approaching the target. Our short-range scans detect an outer shell of unknown carbon allotrope that seems to absorb all emissions. We have no way of knowing what's inside.
We're already crunching your data, away team. I'll let you know if we find anything.
No wonder we couldn't detect this thing. It was literally built to be invisible.
Should we attempt a landing?
No, we're not sure how resilient the structure is. Make a closer flyby and deploy a sample gathering drone.
Roger, Vanguard. We're...
Wait, I'm detecting something on the surface of the sphere. A metallic object embedded in its shell. Look here. The surface around it is cracked. almost as if it crashed into it. It's turning toward us? We're hit! It's shooting at us! It's some sort of automated sentry, anchored on the sphere!
Abort. Do you copy, away team? Abort mission now.
Oh, well, that's dramatic. Okay, you've crashed on the surface of an alien object. Oh, good. Continue reading the prepare section dice and cards instructions on page 12 of the rulebook. Right, prepare section dice. That is these dice up over here. So you'll see that each of the dice here has these little brackets in the corner, and that indicates what the die type is. These are your basic dice. These are special dice for certain dice checks. And then this symbol here, of which there's only 2 per type, is the Vanguard symbol, and that is your wild die. That represents any die symbol that you need. For engineering, we are looking for exactly those dice over there. For science, we are looking for those dice over there. For recon, we want those dice. And for security, we want those dice. So these are your starting attributes and abilities, basically. Engineering needs a blue one like that, and a blue spanner. Naturally, they're engineering after all. And all of the dice also have a Vanguard symbol on them, and they also have this accident symbol on them. So that is representing something potentially bad happening depending on your dice checks. We'll get to that shortly. Science also wants one of these standard blue dice, and they want a little science symbol. Then green, we are looking for a standard green over there and a standard green over there. And red, we want a standard red over there and a standard red over there and a pickaxe red over there. Okay, then I'm just going to grab these ones quickly and throw them into their section boxes over here. I'll pop those into their little divider over there. So now they are ready for a future away mission. And I'm just going to set those off to the side now because we're done with them. Take the 12 cards from the tutorial deck. So there's 3 of each of these for each section. So these are part of your tutorial cards. So the ones that aren't part of the current away team get removed from the game permanently. We won't use those again. So those get popped in there. The science section, we want those. And be careful not to change the order. Those will go into their section deck area of their board. Recon is not in our current away team, so they will go into the box over there. And then these section cards go over there for engineering. Each character gets 2 cards from their section deck into their hand. So Amir has improvised treatment and trial and error. And I'm not going to go into details of how these work now because we shall be getting there shortly. So those are the cards he has in hand available to be played. The cards that Cho has in hand are Emergency Shelter and Specialist Toolkit. So those are her cards ready to be played at some point. Let's go to prepare the planet board. Open the Planetopedia at pages 2 and 3 and place it in the middle of the play area. Okay, so now we get this off to the side briefly. We come to our Planetopedia. We open that to pages 2 and 3. And this is where we have crashed our little reconnaissance drone lander vehicle thing. And that is looking rather ominous, isn't it? Okay, so we have tutorial deck B over here. This side up gets removed from the game. And take the top card from the tutorial deck. B, rank up card, place it in the incomplete side of the rank up space. And the rank up space is over here. So we shall place that over there. These cards contain an additional goal that crew members should try to achieve during planetary exploration. Doing so will mean the crew members in the away team have an opportunity to increase their rank during ship management. Aha. Okay, so this game is basically broken up into 2 phases. Phase 1, which is what we're learning today, is the planetary exploration. It's where you actually send your away team out, you roll dice, you do checks, you have encounters, you do all that kind of stuff. And then when all of that is done, you go back to ISS Vanguard and you do the ship management phase, where you can rank up your characters, you can manipulate the dice you have, you can do all kinds of things, and all of that is tracked separately in the ship book. And that's a totally separate component and thing, so I'm not going to go into all of that now and today. Today's focus is this tutorial mission, which is just focusing on planetary exploration, which, as far as I understand it, is kind of the bulk of the gameplay. Okay, so we take Unique Discovery 1 over here, and we place it in its Unique Discovery space over there. We've got this mission slot here, we have Mission 1. We will now flip over Mission 1 and reveal it and see what it says. Mission: regroup. Scattered across disparate sections of an enormous alien sphere, we must find a way to regroup. Objective: regroup in Section 4. Okay, all crew members need to be present in the sector at the same time, and Sector 4 is over there. So each of these areas has a sector number, so these represent the different locations on the planet, or in this case, sphere, that we have landed on. And this sphere is not a planet sphere, this is a monstrous galaxy-sized sphere. Okay, hint. Whenever someone enters Sector 4, don't forget to go to the log listed there. So when we go to Sector 4, over here we go to log 311. Okay, the space on the bottom right of the planet board is for a global condition card that is over here. This is the global condition, so this is the thing that applies globally to the entire planet or region that we land on. In this case, the global condition is already printed on the board. Scattered supply crates. You have unlimited supplies in this tutorial, and there is our travel rules. We'll be getting to how those work momentarily when we get to travel. These ones over here have existing points of interest. These are blank. We don't know what's there yet. So here we have Twisted Wreckage in Sector 1. We have Crash Site in Sector 2, and then there's these little lines that connect the different sectors together, so you can move from Twisted Wreckage to Sector 5, and you'll read log 227 when you get there. And these little arrows indicate how you can move. So the little travel symbol there means you have to apply this travel effect from the corner of your global condition. And the arrows indicate the direction in which you can move. So in this instance, you can move between these two sectors. Okay, so we've got a bit more setup to do. We've got to take our points of interest. So we'll put all of those over there. And then we have a mission. We'll just leave that up in the corner there. And then these are injury cards, just a scratch. Oh, 'tis but a scratch. Okay, so Amir Zainab will start in Sector 1, Twisted Wreckage, so he is stuck in the Twisted Wreckage over there. The player to the left of Amir, or the other crew member, if playing solo, places their mini in Sector 2, Crash Site. So Cho is in the Crash Site, and Amir is in the Twisted Wreckage, hence scattered across disparate sections of an enormous alien sphere. We got thrown all over the place when we crash landed on here. Once you are done with your turns for the round, you will flip that over to ended turn, or turn ended. And then we can also have this start player marker, which helps us remember who the start player was for the round. We give the start token to Amir for the first round of the game. And then we have this optional token over here, which shows 2 actions left and 1 action left. So that's how you can keep track of how many actions you have. So each turn, each player can do 2 actions. So we'll put that over there as well to remind us that Amir now has 2 actions available to him. Your team is scattered across the surface of the strange alien structure, some trapped in the broken tail of the crashed lander, and some scattered around the burning front half. Your first mission is to regroup in Sector 4. Go to log 20. Aha! And we shall have a bit more story.
Away Team Exploration Report 27C.
We survived the crash.
but we were not out of the woods yet. The lander broke into 2 parts upon impact, and some of us were trapped inside its mangled tail section.
Proceed. Continue reading the Amir's first action instructions on page 15 of the rulebook. Close. Okay, Amir's first action. Here we go. Now, we are done with all the setup and all the bits and all the things, and now we're actually going to start playing this game in earnest. Kind of, because it's still going to be very scripted. Okay. Planetary exploration is divided into a series of rounds. In each round, starting with the crew member with the start token and going clockwise, each crew member takes a turn to perform 2 actions. Since Amir Zainab has the start token, he takes the first action of the game. Give each player a reference card, that is these handy dandy cards over here. So they're double-sided. We have reference card game round on one side and dice check on the other. So this is a reminder of how dice checks work. As you can see, there's quite a few steps to go through for them. So I'm just going to keep these off to the side over there, both face up. But I don't really need to reference those much in this part of the game because pretty much everything here is going to be spelled out over here. Okay, a crew member's turn consists of the following 2 steps. Action steps, perform 2 actions, and then end turn step. Flip turn token and then draw and resolve an event card. That's from these events over here. There are 5 different actions you can perform. You can travel, rest, prepare, lift off, or do a special action. And you can only do a special action once per turn. Everything else you can do the same action twice for both of your actions on a turn. So you could travel twice, or you could prepare twice, or you could lift off twice, but the special action you can only do once. So Amir here wants to travel out of the twisted wreckage, but in order to do so, he first has to resolve this special action over here, because this symbol is a block. It means that you cannot do a normal travel action out of this location. You first have to explore this location to resolve any effects there before you can move out of it. Okay, let's see where we were. I just took a quick break to make some coffee, which I have in my trusty flask over here, to keep me caffeinated and fueled up for the rest of this video, because it's shaping up to be quite a long one. Let's find where we were. That's where we were. Okay, we were going over Amir Zainab's first action, and he was picking dice. So as we will see on this twisted wreckage card over here, there's a little arrow pointing up to the green action. So if you are to fail this action, you automatically will succeed anyway. You'll still resolve the green success action, but you will have to roll the danger die and something bad might happen. So to mitigate that, Amir is not going to willfully choose to fail this action, which would be a viable option. You could just choose not to roll any dice, fail it, and resolve the positive effect, but you do stand a chance of something bad happening. So to mitigate that, we are going to roll some dice. But because this is the scripted out first action from the tutorial, we're not actually going to roll them. We are going to take these 2 dice from the top of his action board. We're going to put them into his roll pool. And although the dice do not have any of the icons needed for the green outcome, each die has a Vanguard icon, which counts as any other icon. If you roll at least 1 Vanguard icon, you will succeed. Okay, note, usually other crew members in the same sector may assist by choosing one of their dice to be included in the check. So how that would work is Amir would pick these 2 dice, and then Cho over here, if they were in the same sector, so if she was here in the twisted wreckage with him, she could pick one of her dice, only one, to contribute to the roll. So for instance, let's see, it needs this strength, the shield, or the compass. She doesn't have any of those, because remember, the little brackets indicate what that die is, what faces it has. But she could roll any of them to potentially roll a Vanguard symbol to help. And how that would work is Amir would roll his dice in his pool. Cho would choose a die and roll it in her pool. But then Amir can use those dice in his action to resolve the effect. And when they're spent, they would go from the roll pool to the spent pool in the respective player's boards. In this case, though, we are not in the same location, so she cannot help him out. So Amir is all on his own in this twisted wreckage. And step 3, roll the dice. At this point, you would normally roll all the dice in your hand Together, all dice rolled by the player and any assisting players form a single roll pool. For this tutorial, instead of rolling the dice, place them in your roll pool above your crew board so that they show the results depicted in the image above. So we're going to set the red die to this accident symbol, and we're going to set the blue die, which looks like purple over there, but there are no purple dice, so we have a blue die, which we will set to the standard face. And then place them in your roll pool. The icon on the red die is an accident. Often, this will result in a negative effect as indicated by the special action. But this is not the case here. No accident symbol is present on this special action. The icon on the blue die is a basic icon. This result has no effect on its own, but could be useful in some situations, like for instance, not in this instance, but Amir has this symbol over here, which means during the dice resolution step, he can convert a standard die into a science symbol. He can use it as if it's a science symbol. So each character has their own speciality. Cho's speciality also affects the blue dice. So she can use standard blue dice as if they are this compass. And each crew member has their own unique ability in that regard. Okay, then step 4 is modify the results. During this step, the crew members may play section cards and use other dice modifiers, such as certain equipment cards, to change the result of their dice and meet the requirements of the desired outcome. In this case, Amir will choose to play his trial and error card, which says during a dice check, move one die from the roll pool to their owner's spent pool to turn one other die to the chosen result. So he's going to play trial and error. That's going to go over to his discard pile over here, which is going to allow him to flip this standard symbol into the Vanguard symbol, which is a wild, which he can then use to represent any of those symbols. Note, other crew members in the same sector may assist by playing one section card from their hand, even if they don't choose a die during step 1. So again, if Cho were here in the same sector, she could choose to play one of her help cards here, which is during a dice check, re-roll one die. And when you see a little multicolored symbol like that, it can be any color. Or this one, during a dice check, turn one blue die to the chosen result. So that would be quite helpful, but she isn't here, so she'll be hanging on to those for her own turn. Up over in the crash site, we'll be getting to her turn eventually. And so the first thing we do is we'll take this accident die, which has no bearing on our current action. We'll place that in the spent pool, following the instructions over here, which will allow us to turn this one into a Vanguard. We will then check for dice combinations. We'll skip this step for now. We'll come back to that later. Resolve injury and danger dice. This can also be skipped for now because we don't have any injury or danger dice. And then resolve special effects. Skip this step for now. Special effects will be explained later on in the tutorial. Lots of things will be explained later on in the tutorial. Okay, during this step you determine the outcome of the action card and indicate it with a marker. It will be resolved later in the procedure. There are various types of special actions. Force the bulkhead open, which is what we are attempting to do currently, is a type of special action with various outcomes based on the result of a dice check, each on its own row. This special action has two outcomes, green and red. Starting from the top row and proceeding down, check to see if you meet the requirements as depicted to the left of the outcome space with the dice roll in the roll pool. If you do, move those dice to your spent pool and place a marker on the outcome space. If a marker was placed, proceed to step 9. Only one marker can be placed on a card during this step. If a marker was not placed, check the next row. Okay, so we do have the dice required, so we will spend this die, placing it over there, and we will place a marker over here to indicate that we have completed the green action. And finally, resolve the outcome. During this step, we will remove the marker from the marked outcome space and then apply the effect. So in this instance, it's pretty straightforward. We know what's going to happen. In later things, it could be that there's multiple effects happening, so that's why you're going to use the markers to just remind you of what outcome you've actually resolved before you finish cleaning up all your dice, and then you will resolve the outcome that you spent dice to do. In this instance, the outcome is to gain 1 success token. That will go over here. That is a success token. That goes into our success tokens area of the board. And if we can get 3 success tokens by the end of the planetary exploration phase, we will be able to flip over this rank up card. So we're now going to remove that. Place card P101. We have card P101 over here. And this will replace the twisted wreckage with outer surface. So Amir has successfully crawled his way. He's grabbed out all of the metal and wreckage and pulled his way through. He's got this big robotic arm up here helping him out. And he has managed to scramble his way to the outer surface, which says we can't reach the other part of our lander via the surface, but we could descend into the honeycombed structure of the sphere. Okay, so we're learning a bit more about the sphere thingy that we've crashed into. Okay, Amir's second action. Amir now finds himself on the outer surface. This POI has another special action printed on it. However, even though each crew member performs 2 actions per turn, they can only perform 1 special action. So the twisted wreckage space was a special action denoted by that little symbol. So now this card has a special action on it. It's the only action that we can do on this card is the special action, and you can only do 1 special action per turn. So he can't immediately resolve that. However, it doesn't have the red block thing, so now he will be able to move from this sector to this sector. His second action is going to be a move, seeing as he can't take advantage of this take the surface samples action. He is just going to move away from there and try descend deeper into this honeycomb structure. So the travel action allows you to move your crew member from one sector to another along a connected path. Looking at the planet board, you can see connectors between 1 and 5. Each path depicts 1 or more icons along the path. You must resolve each of them when you travel along a path. In this case, the icon is the travel icon, which indicates you must look at the current global condition in the bottom right corner of the planet board. The global condition instructs you that to resolve a travel icon, you must spend 1 die. Move it from the available dice to your spend pool, or roll a danger die and look up the result on the danger die reference card. Okay, so we have a choice when we decide to do a normal travel action over here, which is that symbol. So to travel from this location to this location, we look over at our global condition card, which tells us to either spend 1 die, simply taking a die from our available dice and putting it in our spend pool, or we can roll one of these orange danger dice and leave it up to fate to see what happens. For purposes of this tutorial, let's say Amir decides to take the risk of rolling a danger die instead of spending a die because he's feeling lucky. Roll 1 danger die and compare the result to the T entry on the danger die reference card. Okay, so we roll a danger die, and we have, let's roll it over here on the rulebook, we have that symbol. So now we check this symbol against our reference card over here, and as it happens, the danger die result on the tutorial little box is to spend 1 die. Oh well, so rolling the danger die had the same result as if you had just spent a die. However, you will see that there is that symbol and that symbol depicted, but there is also that symbol on the danger die, and there is a blank on the danger die, so there is a chance that rolling the danger die could have resulted in nothing bad happening. So sometimes it's probably worth taking that gamble. In this instance, it made no scrap of difference because he would have had to spend a die anyway. If your result is listed, apply its effect. If your result is not listed, ignore its effect. Okay, so he will spend a die. I'm going to just pick 1. He can manipulate blue, so I don't think he's going to lose a blue die. He's going to lose this green die. That's going to go into his spent pool. The other result was to gain just a scratch, so he would have gained 1 of these injury cards, which we will go over when somebody gets one. Regardless of the result, move Amir to Sector 5, because regardless of what happened, he was going to move. That was just resolving what happened during his movement. That's representing the physical endurance and stamina required to move from one sector to another. which tells us to read log 227.
Do you read me? I'm now under the surface of the sphere. It seems that the cloaking panels rest on a delicate carbon mesh, sparse enough to squeeze through.
Good. We can use this to navigate under chasms and cracks.
I wonder how deep it goes.
Stay focused on your mission. We need to regroup first.
Roger that.
Okay, so don't get distracted with exploring too deep, is what that's telling me. Place card POI 109 face up in sector 5. Okay, so now we will fish out card 109 from the deck there. Place that on there. Close. Okay, we have some rules in our app. As you can see, this sector appears to be a dead end. There is no further to go. You see, it's not connected. We have this little icon here, which indicates a dead end. We cannot continue moving from here to here. The only other path connects this sector with sector 6, but unfortunately the directional arrow indicates that you can only travel from sector 6 to sector 5, not from sector 5 to sector 6. In sector 6, we have this little arrow over here showing we can go from there to there, but this line indicates that this is a dead end, which means we cannot move from sector 5 to sector 6. Amir's turn is now over, but before continuing, take a moment to look at two interesting features of the card you just revealed. The special action has the danger die icon next to its name. This means that when you perform this special action, you must roll a danger die along with your other dice and resolve its result before you resolve the result of the roll. The special effect between the name of the action and the outcome rows instructs you to resolve the red outcome if you roll at least one accident. This one is an immediate special effect and will be explained in the rulebook. Continue reading the end of Amir's turn instructions on page 18 of the rulebook. Okay, Amir's turn is now over. Flip his turn token to the turn-ended side. We'll take his turn token, which you can't see on that camera anymore. I'll put his turn token over there. We'll flip that to the turn-ended side. Normally, at this time, the crew member must draw and resolve an event card. Event card over there. However, event cards will be introduced later in the tutorial, so skip that for now and go to log 50. More story.
Away team, exploration report 1B. When I woke, the cockpit was dark and filled with smoke. A strange glow seeped in through the cracks of the fuselage. Whatever this turret brought us down with, it was still eating through the hull, melting steel like butter. I thought about the oxygen tanks and supplies in the cargo bay below the cockpit. If we were to survive until the rescue, they needed to be saved.
Continue reading the second crew member's turn instructions on page 19 of the rulebook. Any crew member in Sector 2 also faces a difficult situation. They are stuck in the crash site. The lander's front is half buried in the delicate carbon surface. The plasma from the salvo still melts through the hull. Ooh, dear. That's not a good place to be. Okay, the melting hull is endangering volatile oxygen tanks. Oh my goodness, it gets worse. The POI also depicts the no movement icon, meaning no travel from the sector is possible until the emergency is dealt with. The second crew member should choose the Save Supplies special action visible in Sector 2. This also requires a dice check, but this is resolved in a different way to the one we saw on Amir's turn. Instead of outcomes with requirements, each outcome has a track associated with it. This type of dice check represents various activities with progress that can be measured. Instead of trying to roll a fixed requirement, each of your dice will give a chance of progressing one of the tracks. The first time you progress on a track, place a universal marker on the leftmost space of the track. Each subsequent progress moves the marker one space to the right. When the marker moves to the outcome space, progressing it again will not move it further. The effect of that space is applied at the end of the dice check procedure. For both tracks on this POI, 4 progress is needed to apply the effect of the outcome space. Progress on a track is saved from one turn to the next, i.e. one crew member could progress a track on their turn and another could progress the track on their turn. You can even make some progress, travel elsewhere, come back and continue. The two special effects of this action are resolved from left to right. First, any accident icons you roll will progress the red track, and then those dice will be moved to your spent pool. Then each section die you have remaining in your dice pool will progress the green track. Some later actions have special effects on 2 or more rows, always resolve the top row first from left to right, then the next row, and so on. The process for resolving this dice check is the same 10 steps, so let's go through them again. We will choose dice, add injury and danger dice, roll dice, modify the results, and to maximize your chances of making as much progress as possible, take all 5 dice from your crew board and place them into your hand. Any other crew member present chooses not to assist you. So again, they're walking us through each step of the way here and giving us exactly what to do. So Cho is going to take all 5 of her dice into her hand and be ready to roll them. And if you are playing with 3 or 4 players and there was someone else in this sector, then that player would not choose to assist Cho in this instance. As before, this step can be skipped because we don't have any injuries or danger dice to deal with. Step 3, roll all of the dice in your hand. This time, use the actual results you rolled. However, if you roll 3 or more accidents, re-roll all of your dice until you roll fewer than 3 accidents. This is only for this specific roll and only during this tutorial. Okay, so basically they're making sure that we don't fail. So Cho is going to take all of her dice, give them a roll, and look at that, we didn't roll a single accident. That's jolly good. Okay, so we have 2 standard results. We have a pickaxe, we have a Vanguard symbol, I like that, and we have a spanner. That is pretty much what they started out as. Okay then. So the next step is we have rolled the dice. Now, this special action has 2 special effects. They must be resolved from left to right. First, for each accident you have in your pool, progress the red track once and then place that die in your spent pool. I rolled no accidents, so haha. Then for each remaining die, progress the green track and then place that die in your spent pool. Okay, so we literally just spend any colored die to progress the green track. Then move all dice from the roll pool to the spent pool. Okay, so this was a bit overkill because we had no accidents. So let's just say, for argument's sake, that this rolled as an accident. Then what we would do, I would first, because we first resolved the accidents, I would take this accident and put it into the spent pool, and we would place a universal marker on the first space of the progress track over here. And that's why they said if you roll 3 or more accidents, re-roll, because that would have basically made you fail this action, and they're padding your turn a little bit so that you guaranteed don't fail, unless you just roll really well like I did. Okay, so let's say 1 accident went over there, and then you can spend any colored dice. That's what this symbol means. You're not looking for specific faces, you just need to spend dice. So it's basically just spending time, spending energy. So we'll spend 1 die and we will place a universal marker on the track. We will spend another die, which will move that marker over 1 space. We will spend another die, which will move it over 1 space again. And then we will spend our final die, moving it the 4th and final space to complete that action. So had I rolled 2 accident symbols, then I would not have been able to complete that action on this first turn, which means I would have had to wait until Cho's second turn, because you can't do a special action twice. So she wouldn't be able to immediately try that again. Then we will proceed to step 10, resolve outcomes. Check each track from top to bottom. If the marker is on the outcome space, move the marker and apply the effect of that outcome. Even if we had progressed this accident track all the way to the end over time by multiple die rolls, because you resolve the top row first, it would remove these when it gets replaced, because it says replace with card P102. So we're going to take card P102, which is recovered supplies. That is going to replace our crash site. Cho is now all out of dice. She has done her first special action. This new recovered supplies space has 2 special actions on it, so she can't do either of those. And what is our flavor text? We won't have to worry about food or oxygen for a long time. Okay, so we clearly found a whole cache of supplies before the melty plasma, whatever it was, stuff got to them. Okay, but now Cho has spent all of her dice, and as you can see, to move from here to here requires spending a die. To do actions requires using dice. So now, because she has spent all her dice, there's not much else she can do. She is going to perform a rest action. So now we will see how the first rest action is resolved. As you will see on the reference card, performing a rest action reduces the number of supplies you have. Supplies are your most vital resource, representing oxygen, filters, water, and everything else you need to explore alien worlds. However, in this tutorial mission, your supplies are unlimited, as you can see on the global condition card. When you rest, you refresh half of your total number of section dice, rounding up. You currently have 5 dice in total. In this case, all your dice are in your spent pool, but in the future you may still have some in the available dice slots. You count the total number of dice on your crew board. Half of 5 rounded up is 3, so you refresh 3 of your dice. I just spotted that I gave Amir 1 dice fewer than he should have had, so let me rectify that real quick. Right, here is the extra die that he should have had from the beginning. Not quite sure how I missed that. Fortunately, that has made no effect to the gameplay so far. So now Cho is going to rest, and how this resting works is you count up your total number of dice. So in her case, she has 5 dice, and they're all in her spent pool. But let's say, for instance, that Amir wanted to rest on as his first action for his next turn. You still count your total number of dice, and then you refresh half of them rounded up. So in this case, Cho is now going to rest, so she is going to take 3 dice, because 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, rounded up gives us 3, and now we can take any dice we want. Let's take this one, because that works with her special ability over there. And then we'll just take 1 of each color, I think, and we'll take this pickaxe because that might come in useful. So now she has rested, that's her second action, she has refreshed 3 dice. Finally, as the last step of the rest action, draw 1 section card from your deck into your hand. At rank 1, the maximum number of section cards a crew member may have in hand is 2, as shown on your crew board. We have a little reminder that at rank 1, you can hold 2 cards in hand. At rank 2, you can hold 3, and at rank 3, you can hold 4, and that is what these little card sleeves are to remind us of. So that is to remind us that Cho is currently at rank 1, which means she can hold a max of 2 cards. She is now going to draw another card as part of her rest action, reveal that, and now she has to discard 1 of these to immediately get back down to her hand limit. Okay, her turn is now done. She must discard 1 of these, so let's see what we've got. We have Guiding Beacon. During a dice check, reroll 1 die. That's quite useful. Or, as a special action, which we'll be getting to later, can place any crew member in your sector. Immediately go to the spend dice step of this dice check. This one, during a dice check, turn 1 die to the chosen result. And during a dice check, reroll 1 die. I think I'm going to keep these 2 for now and discard this one. So that's going to go to her discard pile over there, and these are going to be in her hand over there. Okay, so these are all instructions for player 3 and player 4 if you're playing with more than 2 crew members. If not, which I'm not today, round completed. 1 full round is now completed. Go to log 59. All crew members now have their turn token on their turn-ended side. This ends the first round. From now on, you have full control over your choice of actions. Before continuing the game, browse through the sections under Continuing the Tutorial in the rulebook. There is no need to read all of these sections in full right now, only read them the first time you need them. Proceed. Continue reading Continuing the Tutorial instructions on page 20 of the rulebook. Once you have completed the first round of the tutorial, you are then on your own. Oh joy. Note, during the tutorial, crew members do not draw event cards at the end of their turn until mission 2 has been revealed. Right, okay, so now the rest of the rules here are giving us little overviews of how all the different things work. So I have already read through all of that, so now we are finished with the scripted part of the tutorial. I shall set that aside. So from now on, at this point in the game, you've seen most of the basics. I'll just play through a few more rounds and give you a good feel. Let's try and complete this first mission at least. Okay, so the first thing we do at the top of a round is, let's reference our little game reference card, so I'll make sure I do it in the right order. Each round, crew members take turns, beginning with the crew member with the start token and then proceeding clockwise. The start token may change ownership during the game. Okay, so now we can decide if we want to move the start token from Amir to Cho, allowing her to immediately take another turn, or he could remain the first player and try to do this special action. I think we're going to do that. He is going to stay as the first player. So he's going to keep this card. I'll just put it in his spent pool. There we go. And he has 2 actions remaining to him. So. I think the first thing he is going to do is rest so that he can get all of his dice back. So yeah, let's refresh these. That is for Cho. We'll put her one over there. We'll put his one over there. Okay, top of the round, we're ready to go. So now we need to continue exploring this place and we need to converge in Sector 4. And considering I can't move directly there, let's see. Carbon Mesh says, there's no obvious way forward, only a labyrinth of tiny passages. Okay, this is a special action we can squeeze through. If we roll an accident symbol before we resolve the green action, we have to go to log 112. And we're looking for exploration or computery symbols. I don't think he has either of those. If I flip these to their most common side, yeah. He has none of those symbols, so he would be hoping to roll Vanguards. And he's rolling the danger die. He is going to rest, and maybe he can get a card that is helpful. So first thing he's going to do for his first action is rest. And as we explained earlier, he will refresh 3 dice because that is half of his total dice rounded up. So we simply bring all of those back. And you will see that there are these slots on his player board, and these are locked to him until he manages to rank up to a higher level. So at the moment, he can only have 2 red dice, 3 green dice, and 3 blue dice. And you get more dice when you complete missions and do things. So these little spaces here are just to remind you that you can't have dice in those slots unless you are rank 2 or rank 3. Then he draws a card from his section deck. Flip that over and add that to his hand. And he only had 1 card in hand, so he doesn't have to discard anything. This one says, anytime, discard an event card you just drew without resolving its text. Ooh, but remember that we're not drawing event cards until mission 2 is revealed. Mission 2 sneaking up over here. So until that comes into play, we do not bother with event cards, so that's not too exciting. He has rested. He is now going to just try do this. So now the question is, how many dice do I want to roll? I can roll all 5 if I'm feeling brave. But I don't see any benefit in rolling all 5. I just need 1 Vanguard symbol to succeed at this. And the success here says, take your crew member and any number of assisting crew members from this sector and place them in Sector 4. So he can instantly just teleport straight there. He finds a passage through the little maze. Or something happens on log 112. So the more dice I roll, the more chance I have of rolling one of those accident symbols. And all of these dice have 1 accident. Yeah. So they've got 5 of their regular faces, 1 Vanguard, and 1 accident. On that die, is that the case for all of them? Yes, I do believe so. Okay, these special ones have got the special face and then one generic and one accident. Yeah, so they've all got one accident and one Vanguard. So your odds of rolling a Vanguard or an accident are pretty much equal. And he will also have to roll the danger die with this action, because it's got the little symbol there, because it's risky business squeezing through an alien labyrinth. I'm going to roll 3 dice. I'm going to just go straight down the middle, take one of each color, roll them up and see what happens. Oh, phew, no accidents. But not good, because also none of the symbols I needed. Oh no. Okay, let's see. I've got... Okay, so I'm going to have to play improvised treatment, and I'm hoping for a Vanguard symbol. So I'm going to play improvised treatment. That is going to go into my play discard pile. And let's re-roll. He's a scientist. Let's re-roll his blue die. Oh, I was meant to re-roll this as well. And on our reference card over here, that symbol has no effect. Whew, thank goodness. Okay, so nothing bad happens. Come on, Vanguard. We need a Vanguard symbol now. Come on, Vanguard, Vanguard. Nope. He is intent on sciencing his way through this, and it's not working. So that didn't work. Let's see. He can't try that again because that was a special action, so he can't do 2 special actions on the same turn. So that is basically his turn done. His other options are to prepare, draw 1 section card, and or make a dice check to trigger dice combinations. Okay, so I'll explain dice combinations now. You'll see on all of these cards that they have a top effect and they have a bottom effect. So the top effect will usually tell you when you can play it. So this one is anytime. You can ignore an event you just drew. This one is during a dice check. You can re-roll a die. Or during a dice check, if you roll 2 of the same symbol, before you resolve the final step, you can do a dice combination. And this one would allow you to discard 1 injury card and die of any crew member in your sector. So he can do a little bit of a healing action. So this prepare action would let you draw a section card, which in this case, since my section deck is empty, I would shuffle my discard pile and draw 1. And or make a dice check to trigger dice combinations. And sometimes you'll have dice combinations on a global condition, sometimes they might be on your location. In this instance, the only one I have available, although I would draw a card first, this would let me refresh 1 die, and then I would spend that card. So I think I'm probably better off just resting. So usually I don't think you would rest quite as much as you can in this tutorial, because normally you have to spend supplies to rest. In this instance, our supplies are unlimited. So Amir is simply going to rest for his second action. He's going to bring back his 3 dice. They are all going to go there. He's going to draw a section card. So that comes to the same thing as preparing, except he manages to refresh all of his dice pretty much. And he gets his trial and error. Ooh. Move 1 die from the roll pool to the owner's spent pool to turn 1 other die to the chosen result. That's that one we used during the scripted part, and it was very helpful. That is going to get him out of here. Okay, he's got a little assistant drone that can follow him around. That's a handy card. Okay, so I'm just going to place those over there. And that is the end of Amir's turn. Boop. He is done. We don't draw an event card yet. We'll move this over to here. And Cho can now do 2 actions. She is going to spend a die. Let's spend a green die. And she's going to move over to Sector 4, which immediately tells us to go to log 311.
Away team, exploration report 1C. The darkness and silence of an eons-old structure enveloped me. The carbon mesh formed small tunnels, their network sprawling under the pitch-black surface of the sphere. I set up a radio beacon to notify the other survivors of my location, and sat there, in the dim light of the flashlight, trying not to think too much about who these corridors were made for.
Ooh. Ominous. Proceed. Are all crew members in Sector 4? Nope, not yet. Keep taking turns until all crew members are here. You must read this log entry each time a crew member enters this location. Okay then. So Cho will simply spend her second action to rest because there's nothing else for her to do there. So she will bring back all 3 dice again. That is her second action spent. She will draw a card. There are none there, so she'll shuffle her discard pile, draw 1 and pick 1. Let's see. May discard 1, may reroll 1, may set 1. I'm just going to stick with the 2 I had, so back to how we were. And those can go there. And we shall continue. Her turn is done. No events yet, because we haven't completed mission 1. And now it's either back to Amir or it's back to Cho. Okay, let's just go with Amir. And he now has this: during a dice check, move 1 die from the roll pool to the owner's spent pool to turn 1 other die to a chosen result. I'm just going to roll 2 dice for Amir because he has this card. And he's going to roll 2 regular dice. Actually, let's keep that one back and he'll roll his green die. Okay, so those come into his hand. That is choose dice. Add injury or danger dice. We will add the danger die because it is a dangerous action we're doing. We will roll the dice. Wow, that is great. That couldn't be better. Overkill, but couldn't be better. Okay, so that was his foist action. So our reference card does not have that symbol on it, so no negative effect from the danger die. He lucked out today. And we have 2 Vanguard symbols. So if I had rolled more dice, I'd be able to use my special effects because I could use those 2 as matching symbols. And remember, the Vanguards are wild, so if I had rolled that, I could still use those as a dice combination of the same face because the Vanguard counts as any face. But this one would let me refresh 1 die. I have no dice in my spent pool. And this one lets me refresh 1 die. So now would not be a good time to do either of those. And if I did that, I would spend those. And then I wouldn't have any left for this. So we're not going to do that right now. We are going to spend 1 die to mark the green outcome over there. And then we're finished. The danger die goes back to the side. This die moves into the spend pool. And we now resolve the green effect here. Take your crew member and any number of assisting crew members from this sector and place them in Sector 4. So we remove that. They move to Sector 4. We read log 311 again. Are all crew members in Sector 4? Yes, they are.
Away Team Exploration Report 1D.
As the last member of the away team appeared in the distance, we felt instant relief. The mission started in disaster, but we were alive. We regrouped, we had some supplies, and we were not far from the designated landing zone. It was time to get to work. First, we needed to make sure that any rescue team sent after us wouldn't suffer the same fate.
Your first mission is now complete. Congratulations! Yay! And we will proceed. Gain 1 success token. Yay! I just realized we should have gained a success token from that space earlier, so we should actually have 3 success tokens up there. Place point of interest card P105, technical corridors in Sector 4. And these guys are hanging out in the technical corridors. This replaces the card outline, which means crew members who enter Sector 4 no longer are directed to log 311.
Away Team Exploration Report 1E.
The demolition charges we salvaged from the lander could now come in handy. Thanks to the webway of tunnels under the surface of the sphere, we could reach a spot directly under the cannon and blow up the entire portion of the sphere it rests upon. We know it is a safer and faster approach, though it would lead to a gaping hole in the structure and remove a part of its cloaking surface. The giant Dyson sphere would no longer be invisible. Some of us proposed a riskier alternative. We could reach the cannon via the surface. Run towards its base, and then find a way to disable it, or destroy it with a much smaller charge placed directly on its side. We put it to a vote.
Okay, so we have a choice to make. Sector 3 contains the cannon which brought down your lander. A POI card will be placed here based on your next decision. Aha! When exploring alien worlds, your away team will often come upon tough choices that can shape your campaign. This is one of them. Blowing up the sphere under the alien cannon is faster and safer, but it will compromise the ability of the sphere to cloak itself, making it easier to find for all other potential travelers, human and otherwise. Surgically disabling the cannon will take more effort and be riskier. Proceed. Okay, all players discuss and choose one. In case of a tie, the security section player makes the final decision, even if they are not on the away team. Okay, so our options are: blow up the part of the sphere with a cannon. This will permanently damage the sphere and compromise its cloaking. Or approach and disable the cannon. This will be riskier and slower. Well, I tend to go with err on the side of caution as my watchword, so I'm going to disable the cannon. That seems like a more sensible thing to do. Take the top card from Tutorial Deck A, Mission Card 2. Read it aloud and place it face up in the mission card space. Mission: secure the crash site. The Vanguard knows our last coordinates and will surely send a second team to investigate. Unless we find a way to silence the cannon that brought us down, they are in grave danger. Ho ho ho! Objective: find a way to neutralize the cannon in Sector 3. When you fulfill the objective, you will be asked to discard this mission. Okay. Place card P107 in Sector 3. So this is the one that's based on that decision we made. We have a bulbous cannon. Oh-ho. The installation that downed our ship will prevent any rescue efforts. Someone needs to disable it. Okay, hint. Before you attempt to reach the cannon, consider resting. Yes, not a bad idea. That was Amir's first action. That's why they give you these little tokens, that you can keep track of the stuff. That was just Amir's first action. So that is a special action. It will require rolling the danger die. Sprint to the base of the cannon. We're looking for a basic plus a strength. And neither of my people have those, so we're looking for Vanguard symbols. So all these other instances you've seen it's had the little bracket. In this case it's got a plus, so you have to roll both of those symbols to get the result. If you fail, you waste an action and gain a just a scratch injury card. Okay, but now we have revealed mission 2, which means we need to look up some rules regarding events, and we have 3 success tokens, which is our goal here. To increase their ranks after a planetary exploration, your team will need to fulfill a specific task listed on the rank up card and gather enough success tokens. In this exploration, you only need to gather at least 3 success. Once you do, flip this card to the completed side. So we shall flip that over to the completed side, which means rank up completed. So now at the end of the mission, we will be able to rank up these characters to the next level, which will be rather useful. And we don't spend those to do that, we just need to have them to do that. And we need to look up how events work. As mentioned earlier, when a crew member ends their turn, they reveal the top event card and resolve it. The process is as follows. Reveal the top event card from the event deck. If the event deck is empty, shuffle the event's discard pile to form a new deck before revealing the top card. If none of the biome cards, icons on the card match any biome icons in your sector, follow the secondary effect of the card, printed at the top of the card. In the tutorial, the secondary effect of all event cards is to progress all time tracks by 1. Ignore this effect if global condition card G1 is not in play. If it is in play, read the section below on time tracks. If any of the biome icons on the card match any biome icons in your sector, resolve the main effect of the card, printed in the lower part of the card. Unless specified otherwise, this effect only applies to the player who revealed the card. Discard the card face up to the event discard pile. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. So, reveal an event, do what it says. Okay, so now Amir has one action left. So he is going to rest. It's not the best time to rest necessarily, but what else can he do? What are his other options? He can travel, rest, prepare, liftoff. Liftoff only applies if you have a sector that has your lander on it that you can lift off. We don't have a lander anymore because it has fallen to pieces. Exertion, not an action. That is not something you want to do. So basically exertion is to use at any moment of the game. You can sacrifice a chosen die if you have a total of 3 or fewer, gain an exhausted injury, and refresh all 5 dice. So you can do that if you've run out of supplies. So in this tutorial, you're never really going to exert your characters. Yep, I think Amir's best option is going to be to just rest. I don't think we need both of them up here. So no, I'm not going to send them both up there. He is going to rest, or he could try and move over here. Many corridors converge in this room, but the machinery here is dead and without power. Do we want to divide and conquer? Because right now is not a great time for him to rest, because he can refresh 3 dice and he's only got 2 that he's spent. So he might as well spend some more dice before he wastes time doing a rest action. So he's just going to move over here. He's going to go exploring and he's going to send Cho off to do that. And then watch me need both of them. So I'm going to play it safe. Play it safe. He's just going to rest. Okay. Done overthinking. Okay, so he's just going to rest. Get back those 2 dice. Draw a section card. And then he has this move 1 die, discard an event now because we're going to be drawing events. I think I'm going to hang on to this event, discard an event card, because I think that could potentially be quite useful. So I'm going to actually discard this one I just drew. His turn is now ended. Draw an event, so we will draw an event card for Amir. Okay. So now, when we draw an event, we check at the top to see if the icon, which is the biome icon, so in different planets you're going to have different biomes potentially in different parts of the planet. In this instance, because this is the tutorial mission, they are all the tutorial biome. So if the biome matches, which in this case it does, we resolve the bottom part of this, which says time passes. Progress all time tracks by 1. Hint, in this tutorial mission, the time track is on global condition card 1, which may not yet be revealed, which it is not. So we basically just discard that event and nothing bad happens. That's good. So presumably something is going to make global condition card 1 go down here and replace that area. So that was Amir's turn. He is done. We will move this over to Cho, and she has 2 actions. She is going to move up to the bulbous cannon and attempt to disable it. So to move there, she has to roll the danger die. And she rolled that symbol, which is gain just a scratch. Okay, we have the first injury of the game. Cho moved a little bit too quickly out of these technical corridors. She tripped and she hurt her shin. She got just a scratch. If you have just a scratch injury, you cannot gain another injury. If you gain another injury, ignore it. Okay, so now this comes down here to her injury board. And when you get an injury card, you also come over here and you grab one of these injury dice. And this gets slotted into your board at the top of one of the tracks. So let's slot it in at the top here. And basically what this does is if you had more dice, you could potentially be losing dice based on your rank. And we will be rolling that die every time she does a dice check from now on. So Cho is somewhat injured. She has taken a bit of a beating, and so now whenever she does dice checks, she will have to roll this injury die. If the symbol on the injury die matches the injury on a card, you have to resolve the result, which in this case is to spend 1 die. If it doesn't, when you roll it, then it simply will get sent back into your dice pool. So that was her movement. She moved over here. Our mission objective, find a way to neutralize the cannon. So that was her first action, to travel. Her second action is now going to be to do the special action here of sprint to the base of the cannon. That's why she got injured. She was sprinting already. I think she's just going to go to town and roll all her dice, because why not? So whenever you're doing a dice check, you always have to roll your injury die. And she's just going to pretty much guarantee that this is going to happen because there is no negative effect. Okay, so now roll in the dice. And all sorts of things happened there. Just got it. Okay, so we've got a Vanguard and we've got a Standard. Phew! All of those others do not help us in the slightest. So fortunately, that accident symbol has no negative bearing on this effect. This injury die symbol does not match the injury card, so we have no negative effect over there. Those we can spend to replace with card P103. Haha! Good things happen. Okay, so all of these go into the spent pool. And then at the end of the dice check step, you take your injury die and you place it in the top slot of any of your spaces there, because it will always be rolled when you do a dice check. So now Cho is quite exhausted. She's done a lot of stuff. And we are going to reveal card P103 from our point of interest deck, which is Blind Spot. Ooh, okay. We have more stuff to do. So maybe I should have sent Amir up there after all. Yeah, they probably should have worked together on that, but oh well. He can always go there on his next turn, after having rested, so not a terrible thing. Okay, safe at last. The gun cannot target us here. Okay, we have two options. Disable the cannon, gain 1 skill and replace with card P000, or we can attempt to damage the cannon. Okay, she would be quite good at trying to disable because she has the spanner icon. And we don't have any of the others. We don't have the shield, we don't have the strength, and we don't have the computer amongst us. But that was her second action, so she is now done. We will draw an event card. And we do not have a matching biome symbol on this instance. There is none in the sector. So like sometimes you can see over here, it has it printed on the sector. And sometimes it's printed on a card. In this instance, there is none present. So we ignore the rushing service bots effect. And we simply resolve, if no icons match, discard this card and progress all time tracks by 1. If it had matched, we would have dealt with rushing service bots. A group of black automatons stampede through the structure, oblivious to our presence. We better get out of their way. Okay, then you've got to spend dice or roll the danger die. Fortunately, I don't have to do either of those things. I can just discard that. So Cho dodged a bullet there. And that is the end of her turn. She has done her 2 actions. That is the end of the round. They are both complete. And we have the red no movement symbol present on this card. So the only way to get out of there is to resolve one of these first and see what it does. Cho is going to try disable the cannons. So fortunately, we flip these over. And we can now move the start player token to any player. So we're going to give it to Cho so that she can start right away and immediately do this action. But first, she needs to rest. So she can rest and she can get back 3 dice. She will get back this one because she needs a spanner to disable the cannon. And she'll get back this one because it's got a Vanguard symbol. And she'll get back this one because it's potentially got a Vanguard symbol. And when you slot them in here, you're supposed to slot them in with their most common side face up. Okay, that was her first action, so she now has 1 action remaining. She would have drawn her section card when doing a rest action. Ooh, this is quite good. Each crew member in your sector may discard 1 injury card and 1 injury die. Then refresh 3 dice and draw 1 section card. Ooh, and she's going to discard that one. Okay, because this emergency shelter could prove very useful shortly, because that will help her get rid of this injury. That would be excellent. She doesn't want to have these injuries hanging around. She's now got her 1 action left. She will now roll all 3 dice, because there's a chance that she could pull this off right now. Let's see. Nope. Okay, but we lucked out. The injury die does not match her injury card, so that is ignored. And we've got the Vanguard symbol, and in this instance we need only one icon to complete the result. She might do a prepare action later, which allows you to try do a dice check on a card. But for now, that completed this mission. These go to the spend pool, this goes back to her available dice, and this goes down here. We complete that, like so. And now we gain one success token and replace this with card P000. So we come over to our points of interest over here. We go to P000, which is nothing interesting. Nothing of interest or value remains here. Okay, so we have completed that. Oh, but first we read log 415.
Away Team, Exploration Report 1H.
The thick armored panels were easy to detach, fortunately. With the turret's machinery exposed, it became even more apparent that it was a piece of much cruder, different technology than the rest of the sphere. This, coupled with the fact that the turret had forcefully dug itself into the sphere with long claws, led us to conclude the turret was left by some other race who discovered this sphere a long time ago. Whoever made it, it is clear that they wanted to prevent other species from studying this place. It's good we disabled the cannon before the rescue team or Vanguard itself entered its firing range.
Vanguard, this is the away team. We regrouped and got rid of the cannon that brought down our lander. No casualties. Any ETA on the rescue team?
We're already on our way, away team. ETA 36 hours. Hold on tight. Do you have enough supplies to last that long, away team?
Yeah, lucky for us, most of the stuff in the lander survived. We'll be cutting it close on the oxygen, but we should be fine.
Excellent. You can proceed with your mission then.
Please repeat, Vanguard. You want us to keep searching this place?
Of course. There's nothing else you can do for now. And we still need to know more about the structure before Vanguard gets too close. The scans you've provided indicate there's some sort of a room within the sphere, near your location, filled with what looks like some alien technology. Take a look and see what you can make of it.
Copy that, Vanguard. Proceeding with the mission.
Okay, take the top card from Tutorial Deck A, Mission Card 3. Replace your current mission card with Mission Card 3 and read its text. So, we have completed Mission 2. That gets discarded. We bring in Mission 3 and we read its text. The Iris. The Vanguard is still barreling toward this alien structure. We must discover what's on the other side and what its purpose is. Objective, fully explore Sector 6. Fully explored sectors have a flag icon, as we've seen on the Nothing Interesting card over there. Read the description of Location 6 on the planet board. Revealing the final point of interest of Sector 6 requires an action elsewhere. If you get stuck and don't know what to do, go to log 600. When you fulfill the objective, you will be asked to discard this mission. Okay, so that was the end of Cho's turn. She will now draw an event card. And she has eerie voices, but they do not match there. So if no icons match, discard this card and progress all time tracks by 1. So eerie voices does not apply because she does not match the symbol there. She's nestled under an alien cannon currently. A strong radio disruption comes from the other side of the sphere. Within the deafening white noise, we seem to hear some human words. Ooh, mysterious. But that doesn't happen because, well, we probably hear it, but nothing negative happens. Or maybe she can't hear it from where she is. That's probably the more accurate version. So, Cho is done. So now it is Amir's turn, and I think what I'm going to do is I've done a lot of explaining as I go, reading the rules, looking stuff up. Now I'm just going to play out to get to the end of the mission so that you can see any final little rules as they come up. I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining each step of the way. I'm just going to do the actions, resolve them, and let's try resolve this mission 3 as quick as we can. Okay, so our mission is fully explore Sector 6, but there's a hint. Read the descriptions of locations on the planet board. Okay, so we have the control room. Many corridors converge in this room, but the machinery here is dead and without power. And that special action there is to harvest alien components. And then we have convex panels up at the top. A cluster of solar panels that once powered this section of the sphere no longer appears functional. So working off that hint, this is dead and without power, and this is solar panels. So put those together and you have power here. So I think we need to go explore here first. Cho is all the way up in the corner here, and so she's got quite a distance to move. He is closer to this. So he's going to travel here and then travel here. So he's going to be ready to resolve this, and then Cho can come down and resolve this. Right, we have a plan. Amir's first action, let's give him the little thingy. He has 2 actions left. His first action is going to be to move here. He has to either exhaust a die or roll the danger die. I don't really want to risk him getting a wound, so he is going to spend a die, except he can't do this. Oh, unless he rolls that or that. Well, rewind. Okay, I just looked at the special things here, and I see that this special bonus action, which is yellow, so these yellow actions are bonus actions that if you resolve that, it is a better version of succeeding at the objective. So this needs a pickaxe or a spanner, which will allow you to refresh a die, and then you get to resolve the bottom effect. Or you need to just spend 2 red and 2 blue dice. I think it's going to be better for Amir to head up over there and Cho to come down here. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so he's going to move over here. Boop. And we don't want to risk him getting a wound, so he's going to spend a red die to move over to there. And then he's going to move up there on his next thing. But first we go here, so we read log 130. Is mission 3 your current mission card? Yes, it is.
Away team, exploration report 16C.
One of the technical corridors eventually led us to a small balcony attached to the inner part of the sphere. We gasped, looking upon the enormous space contained within the object. Before us, a derelict of an entire solar system floated inside the sphere, its sun red and tired. We took preliminary readings and scans. It seemed apparent that the matter of this system, and probably many neighboring ones, was repurposed to build this enormous structure. But why go through all this trouble only to hide an old red giant and some mined-out rocks? The inside of the sphere is covered with solar panels, aiming at the sun, yet all corridors and terminals we've seen so far are dead. Did something break in the circuitry of this part of the sphere? And can we fix it?
Wow, okay. That is cool. Okay, place a random P000 card face up, gain 1 success token. Okay, a 000 card, which we now know is nothing interesting. Okay, so we have seen, well, that's a bit of a lie. That's very interesting. But there is nothing more to explore in that sector. We need to continue moving to that one. So Amir will discard this one, and he'll move up to there. Okay, that was his 2 actions. He is kaput. She is kaput. He must draw an event card. Oh, now we risk something happening. Structural collapse. The delicate carbon mesh breaks under your feet. You spend a lot of time freeing yourself. Progress all time tracks by 2. Okay, we're kind of lucking out with these event cards because we don't have any time tracks to progress yet. And hopefully we have one that I can show you how time tracks work, but we haven't got there just yet. That's the end of that round. Now we can choose who's going to go first. I think we're still going to start with Cho. Yeah, we're going to start with Cho. First thing she's going to do is rest, and we're looking for spanners and pickaxes. So she wants her spannery blue die. And she wants her pickaxe red die. And she can refresh a third one. Let's get back a, red die, because she's going to need, if she doesn't get either of those, then she's going to need red and blue dice for that action. And she draws a card, blah, 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 discards a card, blah, blah, blah. And then her second action, she is going to... She's just going to move. She's going to move over here, and she's going to roll a danger die. Danger die! Dun, dun, dun. Nothing bad happens. Woohoo! And that is her second action. She is done. Draw an event. And it does match, so time passes. Progress all time tracks by 1. Hint, in this tutorial mission, the time tracker is on global condition card 1, which may not yet be revealed, which it still isn't. Okay then. Oh, no more cards. The tutorial deck is now empty. If you need to rebuild it, go to log 720. So you can always rebuild your tutorial decks if you want to go through the tutorial again. Now, when we need to draw an event card, we will simply shuffle it. Shuffle up the event cards and keep drawing. It is now Amir's turn, and he can't roll a spanner, but he might get a Vanguard. If he goes too big on the convex panels, he might injure himself. He is going to simply roll all 3 dice. He doesn't have the 2 green dice and the blue dice. He's only got 1 green die, but he's hoping we can roll a Vanguard symbol, which will mean he can then refresh a die and it will trigger off the benefit there, because you resolve these things top down. So he's going to go with that. He's going to roll his dice, and that's not a Vanguard symbol. But he has trial and error. Move 1 die from the roll pool to the owner's spend pool to turn 1 other die to a chosen result. So he's going to spend that die to turn that die into a Vanguard symbol. He will then spend that die to place a marker over there. He's played that card. That goes into his discard pile. He doesn't have the dice to mark that, so that die is simply spent, but because we've got the little arrow on this icon, it means we can refresh 1 die. Let's bring back a blue die, because he likes blue dice. He can manipulate those. And go to log 424.
The ancient machinery connected to the panels flickers and almost immediately begins to wane. The power coupling you've just installed begins to smolder. It won't last long.
Okay, so we patched it, but we didn't patch it very well. Aha, take the top card from tutorial deck A, global condition card 1, and place it face up on the global conditions slot in the bottom right of the planet board. We now have flickering lights. The power ebbs through the structure. Its ancient terminals flickering. The light makes travel a little easier. You have unlimited supplies in this tutorial. Travel now has a different effect. Global condition cards like G1 contain effects that influence the entire planet board. They also contain the effect of the travel icon that changes with each new card. Please note that the travel icon effect is now different than it was on the previous card. From now on, traveling will require a dice check. This card contains a time track. How time tracks work is anytime you're told to advance a time track, like we've been told to do numerous times with these event cards, the first time you simply take a global marker and you place it in the first space on the track. Each subsequent time you're told to advance the time track, you move it 1 space over, and then you move it over again, and then when you move it to the final space, you will resolve log 505 in this case. So they're pretty simple. The time track on G1 represents the time that the power is on. Once the time token reaches the end of the track, the power goes out again. Discarding G1. At this point, you will be back to your original printed global condition. Hint, you may always go back to Sector 7 to switch power back on. Place POI 106 in Sector 6. As the power circulates through the structure again, an ancient terminal has awakened. Ooh, has awoken, not awaken. We put P106, so now we can't do this special action anymore. We now have Strange Console. It's the first thing resembling an operable machine that we've seen in this place. And we now have that symbol, which means we have fully explored Sector 6. Haha! Take a look at the special effects of the Access Control Special Action. You gain progress on the green track by rolling the depicted icons. However, remember that special effects are resolved from top to bottom. Therefore, before resolving any dice with those icons, each pair of green and blue dice rolled will progress the red track. So avoid rolling both green and blue dice together. Yo, that was a lot from log 424. I hope I resolved that correctly. We shall see. That gets removed. That was Amir's first action. He still has one action left. He could move, or he could stay there in order to keep powering this up if we run out of time. That might be an idea. So he could then just rest for his action. I think he's going to do that. He's going to stay where he is and he's going to rest because now traveling requires us to do a dice check. So he's going to rest. He gets back 3 dice and we want green and blue for this one. So he's going to bring back 2 green and a blue. And he's going to draw a card. We shuffle his discard pile and draw a card. He now has his trial and error back again. And that is the end of his turn. Flip his marker over, draw an event card. Symbols match, structural collapse. The delicate carbon mesh breaks under your feet. You spend a lot of time freeing yourself. Again, the carbon mesh in this area is really pathetically weak. Okay, progress all time tracks by 2. I don't like it. I'm going to say nope and play my calculated risk to cancel that. Discard an event card you just drew without resolving its text. That's the end of the round. We will now refresh our turn markers. We will decide who's going to be the start player. I think we need to get Cho down here ASAP so that she can start working on this. And we haven't found what this unique discovery is. There's a little mystery hanging about. Okay, I think we're going to start with Cho. She is going to go foist. And she is going to move to the strange console, and then she's probably going to have to rest to have enough dice to do anything useful. She's going to roll these 2 dice, because neither of those have the symbols, whoopsie, she's looking for. Because this can let her refresh 2 dice, so she's going to roll these. This is her first action. And her injury dice has no effect. It doesn't match the thing on her card. She didn't get either of those. She's going to play Emergency Shelter to re-roll 1 die. We're looking for a Vanguard symbol, please. Nope. Oh dear. Okay, so that was an outright failure. That wasn't very good, because if you roll an accident, you simply move to a connected sector. If you roll a compass or a Vanguard, then you can refresh 2 dice and move to a connected sector. And I didn't roll any of those things. Okay, well, that is that. Those go into spent. And then her second action, she's just going to try again because she can potentially roll a Vanguard with this. She can turn a blue die to a chosen result, and she has this, which allows her to convert these standard symbols into compasses, which I didn't see before. I should have just rolled that to begin with. She always has to roll the injury die along with her other. There we go. That has no effect because it doesn't match the symbol on her injury card. That she can convert into a compass, so that's good. She can spend that to refresh 2 dice. And move to a connected sector, and we want spanners. I don't think you can refresh the die you just used. No, you can, because you do that, and then you mark that like so. And then that goes there. Now I can refresh 2 dice. I'm going to refresh the one that gives me a spanner, which is the one I just used. And I'm going to refresh the other blue one because she can convert them into useful stuff. and move to a connected sector. She can now move to there. That was her second action, unfortunately, because she wasted her first one. And that is the end of her turn. Draw an event card. Rushing service bots. A group of black automatons stampede through the structure, oblivious to our presence. We better get out of their way. Okay, so you've got to spend a blue and a red die, or roll the danger die. Well, I don't have a red die to spend, so I've got to roll the danger die, which I probably would do anyway, because that can happen. Haha, blank. Nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, but she's now done. Now Amir is up. Amir, what you gonna do? There's not really any point in doing this special action again. There's not much he can do apart from try and move down to Cho, but that's a long way to move. He's got to move there, then there, then there. And I think he should rather just hang out where he is. I think he's just going to rest. He's going to get back that die. He's going to draw a sector card. And he's not going to do a second action. You don't have to do 2 actions every time. You may do 2. It would probably make more sense for them to be in the same place, but I think it's better for him to just hang out here and be able to repair that if it needs to be. So he's just going to skip over doing a second action, although he could prepare, draw 1 section card and or make a dice check. He's going to do that. He's going to draw a section card because he would shuffle these up and draw a card. Then he must discard 1. He's going to discard that one because now he's got this discard an event card you just drew without resolving its effect. And he could try to do a dice check, but he has no spent dice, so there's no real point. But he can now just cancel the events, so he can save us a lot of time. He now draws an event, because that was his second action, which is eerie voices. A strong radio disruption comes from the other side of the sphere. Within the deafening white noise, we seem to hear some human words. Spend a die or cancel it. I think he's going to save his cancel card for a future turn. He's just going to spend a die. He can afford to lose a die right now. Top of the turn, we're going to flip turn markers over. She only has 2 dice. She could do them right now, but I want to try and resolve this as quick as I can. So, first she's going to rest. Yeah, because then she gets another card in her hand. She's going to rest. None of these symbols are on these dice, so it doesn't really matter. She's just looking for Vanguard symbols, so she's just going to bring in 1. Well, she's going to bring in all of them, isn't she? Oh, and this one should have gone back into her board. And that one should be there. And draw a card. So now I'm guessing that you wouldn't be resting this much in a standard game because you're limited by your supplies. In this instance, we can have an emergency shelter. Each crew member in your sector may discard 1 injury card. Ooh, I like that. Okay, but I can potentially do that as well as her normal action. This injury card hasn't really been a big problem for her, actually. And now, we just don't want to roll a pair of blue and green. But for each pair, it only advances 1. You know what? I'm going to risk it. I'm just going to roll everything. This is her second action. She's going to roll all her dice because we're going big on this one. I'm looking to get as many of these symbols as I can, and the only way I'm going to get lots of them is lots of Vanguard symbols. And I got precisely 1 Vanguard symbol. Okay, injury die does nothing terrible. She is going to spend her specialist toolkit to, during a dice check, turn 1 blue die to the chosen result. She's going to turn that into a Vanguard. Boom. And now we can advance this track. We've got the blue spanner, we've got a Vanguard, we've got a Vanguard. I could re-roll a die, let's just do it. She's going to re-roll a die and we're looking for another Vanguard symbol. And it rolled off screen and it wasn't a Vanguard symbol. So that is 3 progress. So that brings 1 on for the first die, and then moves it 1, 2 for the next 2. We've spent both of our cards, so now we can't use that matching pair to do anything with our cards. So those all come into the spent area. Injury die goes back into her board. And that was her second action because she rested first. So she is now done. Oh, and for every green and blue die you roll, I didn't do that. You were meant to advance the red track 1 space. So we're getting there. We are close to completing this one. We just need to survive until her next turn. She needs to draw an event card. Event, time passes. Progress all time tracks by 1. Dun dun dun. Okay, now we're going to be running out of time. So is Amir just going to skip over his turn completely? I think he is. I don't think there's anything really beneficial for him to do. There is not. There is not anything beneficial for him to do. I suppose he could just start moving. What's the worst that can happen? He might as well try get down here. That's 1, 2 actions. To move from here to here, I just have to spend a die. I don't have to do this to move from here to here. I just have to spend any die. So yeah, let's just do it. He's just going to spend a die to move to here. Boop. That's all. And then he is going to move from here to here, which is going to involve a dice check. He is looking for a compass. His only hope of getting a compass is to roll a Vanguard. So he's going to roll everything because the worst that can happen is he just moves. And he didn't get a Vanguard, and that happens immediately. So when you roll this, and this happens, you immediately resolve the red effect before you get to do anything else. So we first spend that, move to a connected sector, boom, which isn't a terrible thing, and those get discarded. So he can't use those for effects on cards or anything like that. And his turn is done. Draw an event. Time passes. No, it doesn't, because we will burn our calculated risk again to cancel that event. I can see why they told you to use Amir in this first mission. Okay, shuffle up the event deck, and let's see if we can't finish this now. We just need 1 symbol to succeed. That is the end of the round. Both characters are finished. We flip these over. Cho is going to be our first player for absolute certain, because I think once we do this, we're done. So she is going to spend her first action to rest, because she has no dice to use. So she's going to get a spanner, because we need spanners. She's going to get a blue thing, because she can manipulate those, and then she can get a third die. She'll just bring in a red one, because we do not want green and blue pairs. And she's going to draw a card, which is during a dice check, reroll 1 die. And, oh, this is a nice one. She can use a standard effect to place any crew member in your sector. That is very, very, very cool. Okay, so if she does that, because you resolve these before you resolve the effects over here, she would do that and then skip over any other effects that she might be able to do on the card, which could be beneficial. It could be worth doing that if she doesn't roll well and she has nothing to use in that location. Second action, she is going to roll all her dice. We're looking for 1 symbol. Boom, got it, spanner. But we have rolled the first matching symbol on the injury card. So now this is the first time our injury die has come up matching the symbol over here, which would mean she would have to spend a die, but all her dice are spent already. In a standard game, you can gain up to 3 injury cards. And then if you were to gain a 4th injury card, bad stuff happens. So you do not want to get too many injury cards, which means you probably want to use these abilities more in a standard game to try get rid of those. Okay, she rolled a spanner. She did not roll a pair. We can move that over to there. She could use one of those, but then she wouldn't have been able to do that. So all of those will be spent and go to her spent pool. That will go back to her board. That she will keep. And we will read log 200.
Are you getting anywhere? The power will go out shortly.
Who knew interfacing with technology would be difficult, huh? You want to take the front seat?
Well, no, it's just...
Okay, I'm in. It's some sort of a welcome message with instructions and pictograms. Some of it in Chinese, some in English, some in French. And this part, I don't even know what this is.
They were listening to us? But how? The Earth is too far away for even our first radio transmissions to reach this place.
That's a question for later. Now, see that? It seems the sphere can open up. They wanted visitors to get inside.
What for? There's nothing there. Just an old, destroyed system.
They must have a reason. Let me just try this. And this. Do you read us, Vanguard? We're opening the gates.
We read you, away team. Excellent job. We see an entire section of the sphere, several hundred miles across, slowly moving. We should be able to steer into the opening. Good job, away team. The rescue ship is on its way. We'll meet you inside.
Captain, we are receiving a transmission from within the sphere.
Oh, mysterious.
Run it again.
Perform handshake. This is the middle. Applause. Next step. Time. A long time ago, we began a race. All started at the same time. Thousands. All around. You need them to enter and claim. Go first. Prepare for what comes. We're sorry for stealing your future. It was the only way. Enter. Claim.
Enter? Enter what?
It all started with a string of data, coordinates, discovered inside the non-coding DNA of every living cell on Earth. It took decades to build a ship capable of reaching them. When we arrived, we were welcomed by a pitch-black, cloaked Dyson sphere, undetectable until we almost crashed into it. Inside, a skeleton of a solar system, its matter stripped away, dead rocks bathed in the radiation of an old red giant. Then, something came from within the star. A signal. A patchwork of Earth's old transmissions, glued together into something new and thrown back at us. The glitchy part at the end. What was that?
A fragment our AI couldn't read. Likely, no. Wait. I've seen this encryption before. On the coordinates that led us here. Only, this time it points to hundreds of places, all over the galaxy. What is it, Captain?
Our tribe. Whatever this message meant, one thing was sure. We thought reaching this place was the final objective of our mission. Instead, it was only the beginning.
Okay, log 200. Open the system maps book and mark the Eye of the Void system with the current system bookmark. Move card R2, analyzing the message from research projects to the awaiting envelope. Okay, we have to do some housekeeping stuff. So let me get those bits and then I shall return. Let's see, open the system maps book. That is over here. We won't open this mysterious envelope just yet. That is for another time. This is a fantastic little introduction to the whole universe and world and everything. Well worth a read. And here we have the system maps book. So we can mark page 2, the Eye of the Void, with the current system bookmark. so that we are ready for our next adventure. That's really cool. Move card R2. Research projects. R02. That is card R2 to the awaiting envelope. That is this envelope over here. We drop this into this envelope like so. So that is awaiting. Take the top card from tutorial deck A, research card R1, and move this card to the awaiting envelope. This also goes into awaiting. Ready and awaiting for the next time I play. Your crew is now returning to ISS Vanguard, and you're about to learn about the second major part of the game, ship management. But first, let's see how well you did in the tutorial. If you have unique Discovery 1, gain 1 success token. We do not. Probably because we didn't explore the control room that said harvest alien components. That probably would have given us some kind of bonus, but oh well. Count your success tokens. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Subtract 1 for each crew member currently injured. That is 1 because he managed to stay away from injury. So we are down to 4. Proceed. Is your total result 1 or less? No, it's not. Is your total result 2 or 3? No, it's not. Our total result is 4. Are you sure you're new to ISS Vanguard? You avoided injuries and gathered a lot of success. However, keep in mind the upcoming planets will keep ramping up the difficulty. Don't let your guard down.
Vanguard, we're approaching the starboard dock. ETA 5 minutes. All systems are nominal. Copy that. How's your package?
The package is fine, though it is hungry and it needs a shower. You guys took your sweet time.
It wasn't us who crashed our lander.
Hey, we were shot at!
Enough jokes. We're really happy to have you back in one piece, away team. Be advised, this is the first time we have a craft returning from an extraterrestrial object. Please follow all boarding procedures carefully. After decontamination and debriefing in the hangar, take the green corridor to the med bay. The security team will inspect and sort all your discoveries while you get your checkups.
Of course. We know the procedure, Vanguard. Just get me to that shower already.
Okay, if you did not gain Unique Discovery 1 during planetary exploration, gain it now. Oh, okay. And place it in the Found Discovery space indicated in the top edge of the planet board. Okay then, we just get given it. Okay, again, tutorial. So we get that. It is an exotic carbon allotrope. Ship management. When unloaded, place research project R1 in the awaiting envelope. You are only gaining this now because this is a tutorial. During the campaign, you will not simply be given things that you miss. You must search the planet thoroughly to find things. Yeah, we won't just be handed it. Okay, continue reading the tutorial cleanup instructions on page 24 of the rulebook. As your away team leaves the planet, it is time to perform some quick cleanup steps. Clean up cards and dice, move any section dice from the table to their appropriate section compartments. Return all turn tokens, time tokens, start markers, minis, markers, injury dice, and danger dice to the box. Remove all section cards that were used in the tutorial, along with tutorial event cards, tutorial injury cards, tutorial mission cards, and the tutorial global condition card from the game. Okay, so we will do all of that, but I won't bore you with watching me do all the cleanup. We will then promote our crew members there because we got our rank up card over here. That will allow us to promote our crew members to rank 2, making them slightly better at stuff. For instance, being able to hold 3 cards instead of just 2. And then you can use your success tokens to buy additional dice for each section. So basically we can spend 5 success tokens to get 1 new die for each section. Because each section currently has 5, the cost is 5 success tokens. If you have that many, return 5 success tokens to the box and add the following dice from the game box to the corresponding section compartments. So we can get these extra dice. And then congratulations, you've reached the end of the ISS Vanguard tutorial. Please remember that additional rules and elements of the game, such as ship management, leads, discoveries, threats, landers, and more, will be revealed as your campaign progresses. Whenever you wish to review their rules, use the full rules part of this rulebook. Chapter 3, which is over there. That is the full campaign rules, with more stunning art throughout. Even the rulebook is stunning in this game. If you wish to continue your campaign immediately after this tutorial, see the next section, Continuing the Campaign. Otherwise, go to Resetting Your Game Procedure on page 41 to prepare your game for future playthroughs, which is what I'm going to do now. So I'm not actually going to set all of this for continuing the campaign at this point, because this was purely a tutorial demonstration showing you how everything works. We would then go to the ship book, which is this massive file over here. So we would then proceed to the ship book, and basically all the rules for the ship are in the ship book. So over here we have all the rules for resuming a game. Then go to page 2, the bridge. Then you've got the bridge, install bridge cards, generate command, check situations, go to page 5, star map. So this literally takes you through all the things you're going to do. You're going to take any unique discoveries you found. You're going to rank up your characters. You're going to put them into their various section compartments. You're going to take them here. You're going to rank them up, get more cards, add more dice to their sections as you go. And your crew is going to get stronger and better, and everything you need to know about the ship is right in here. I cannot talk from experience because I have not played that far yet. I have only ever played what you have seen today. And I shall be resetting the game before continuing on, because I am going to be playing this game with my mother after she has watched this. And we are going to start a fresh, clean campaign together, because I'm not going to just carry on playing this solo. I'm going to play this with her, and we're going to have a jolly old time with it. So, all the ship stuff is here. We've got a star map, fly ISS Vanguard to new places, ship facilities. We've got the research laboratory where we can put, there we go. That's probably where all these research projects will go. I would guess in there, considering research. It's all tying together. The production complex. We have a whole bunch of production projects over there that you can do. And all of this I went through in the organizing video, where I set everything up and put all of these starting cards. So this is all how it starts. What else do we have? Production queue, the situation room, the barracks. We have a hangar. We have a space ranger, our basic lander that we can use to go land on planets. Mission launch procedure. Wow. Okay, lots more reading to do here, and I will be going through this in my own time. Beginning planetary exploration, so that's what we've just done. We've just done the planetary exploration. So we would do that before what you've just seen, and then we would do this after what you've just seen. And docking, debriefing, unloading, more stuff. Oh, here we go. Unique Discovery 1, Unique Discovery 2. So that's where this would slot in if I were to be saving the game and moving forward. And medbay. And the memorial wall, if you happen to lose crew as you go, which I've heard happens. When you lose them, they get put in here. So that's interesting. We have a save point. Record your current planet board, save other cards and trades, close and store the ship book. Okay, so that's probably... this is the most convenient time to end your play session and save your game progress. Reaching another save point usually takes 2 to 4 hours. Okay, right, so obviously at the end of a session you're going to go through all those steps. Then you're going to get to a save point. And then you're going to do what it tells you there. And then that is the end. And that is a beautiful place to finish off this video. and say thank you ever so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the show.